Everybody. Let's get to our first flipped lesson on flipping. I know, so meta, by starting to talk about what is classroom flipping. So if you've never heard of a flipped or a blended classroom, here's basically what it is. It is a style of teaching and learning for your students in which the lecture and the homework elements of your day are flipped around. So, traditionally, during a normal 50-minute class, students come in, they do a warm up activity, reviewing last night's homework, spending a bulk of the class time teaching something new, and then there's usually a couple minutes, maybe at the end of class, to get started on their homework. Well, flipping the class takes that and turns it around, where 5 minutes for bell work, a little bit of review of whatever previous night's homework might have been, and then no time to lecture something new because their homework was the lecture. And then you use the class time for that guided and independent practice so you can do activities, hands on things in order to make sure your students are really understanding the material and not just writing it down and they really get what's going on. This is also perfect for the 90-minute block, and you can see how the 90-minute block is set up in a flipped way. So it's taking that element of giving your students direct instruction, and instead that direct instruction is happening at home. That is the homework element. And then during class, they're getting that hands-on and that practice and doing those practice problems with you in the room so they can access you as a resource. So what I'm going to do is talk about a couple reasons to flip. And it's basically the Cliff's Notes of the book Flip Your Classroom that is written by Jonathan Bergman and Aaron Sams, who are kind of the guys who invented it all. So let's learn about how did they start flipping their classroom, why they started doing it, and some of the benefits they discovered from it. You ready? Let's start. Once upon a time, in a rural Colorado high school, two chemistry teachers were busy trying to teach a very busy group of students. The students were busy trying to balance all of their activities: school, life, sports. It was a really far drive to the next town, and so sometimes the students would miss class to be able to get to their tournaments and their activities. The two chemistry teachers had to put their heads together and get creative to find a way to help their students be successful in class. So they decided to, remember back in 2007, this new website called YouTube, you could post anything on it. How about some chemistry lessons? The students absolutely loved that they could access their chemistry lessons on this YouTube platform whenever convenient for them. The end. Or is it the end? There were so many added benefits to this type of teaching and this type of learning. So let's see exactly some of these extra benefits that came out of this little experiment by these two chemistry teachers. All right, let's begin with some reasons why flipping is a good idea and some of the benefits of flipping. One of the biggest ones I feel is that it speaks the language of our students today. I mean, our students have grown up with internet access. They haven't really known life without the internet. And most of them carry some pretty powerful devices in their own pockets. These devices can be more powerful than some of the aging computers that are around our school buildings. So why not embrace these tools and why not embrace this culture and help our students learn as they have been used to learning their entire lives? I mean, where do a lot of us and our students go in our own time when we need to learn something new? Our students may need to learn how to beat this next level in Minecraft, or maybe we need to learn how to change the battery in our car. I know I went to YouTube and discovered that my battery in my car is actually in the trunk, and that's how I learned how to change it. So let's embrace that culture. The next thing I want to talk about is our time. So when we talked about when we do learning on our own time, well, what would we do with that class time together? So here's a clip from one of my favorite movies, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Order the double cheese and sausage.
Right here, dude. Here, dude.
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
Learning about Cuba, having some food.
Mr. Spicoli, you're on dangerous ground here. You're causing a major disturbance on my time.
I've been thinking about this, Mr. Han. If I'm here and you're here, doesn't that make it our time? Certainly there's nothing wrong with a little feast on our time.
You're absolutely right, Mr. Spicoli. It is our time. Yours, mine, and everyone else's in this room. But it is my class. Hamilton, Brandt, Kornfeld, up front. Mr. Spicoli has been kind enough to bring us a snack. Be my guest. Help yourselves.
Okay, so a little bit about our time. So when we have our time together, how are we going to use that best to our advantage? Because remember, a lot of our students are really busy outside the classroom. Or a lot of our students are overprogrammed, very busy, select sports teams, doing 5 different activities. So they're super busy. Learning can happen on their own pace and their own time. So they can learn some new information when convenient for them. And then when we have our time together in class, we can help them with their learning. We can help answer questions. We can dispel myths. We can do hands-on activities. We can enrich those who need enriching, and we can help uplift, and we can help give some scaffolding and facilitate those who need that help. So during our time, we can make it a little bit more useful because that our time together is so little and so precious. And also students will learn time management skills because they will discover that if they need to learn something new, they have to decide when that learning is best for them and their schedule and for their learning style. Flipping also allows for some differentiation. So like I said before, when we are flipping the classroom, we can help scaffold and we can facilitate. Usually in our typical classroom, we're giving a lecture, we're in front of the class, we're having a discussion, and the students who are raising their hands, those are the eager participants who already understand what's going on and want to share what they have. And some of the kids who are having troubles don't participate as much because they're not as eager. So when you flip, you're allowed to spend more class time working with all of your students, and more students can have a voice and can take the time and work at their own pace. So when you're lecturing, sometimes you have that student who's frantically scribbling to get down some information. Well, that student doesn't have to frantically scribble if they can pause you, write down the information, and then move on at their pace, and nobody's rolling their eyes if that student's like, wait, I'm still writing. Wait, I'm still writing. And so everyone gets to learn that new information at the pace that works for them. It also increases how much your students get to work together. Help them rely on each other rather than rely on you. They'll take more ownership in their learning because they're going to get to collaborate together in more real-world situations. I mean, think about the way the world works today. It's all about working together and sharing information, and your students are going to have more opportunity to do that when they're in the flipped classroom setting. It also changes that classroom management piece. Remember that student who would sit there and start goofing off because they hurried up, wrote down their notes, and now they're bored? Now they're engaged in those hands-on activities and you're actually doing something. It's going to help that classroom management piece because during class, everybody is engaged in activity. I've also felt it really changes that parent-teacher relationship too. So class is more transparent. What are we learning about? Well, my videos can be seen by my parents just as well as my students. Sometimes our parents even have trouble learning that new way. Like, what is that matrix you have to do now to multiply that my kid brings home? I can also learn about how to do those type of things to help my child at home. And those discussions we have during our parent-teacher conferences or when I'm calling someone on the phone, rather than are they behaving, I'm getting better behavior, but now is your child learning? Are they engaged when we're doing the hands-on pieces? How are they engaging in that material with their peers, and how are they engaging with the academics? I also have to go through the obligatory disclaimer, reasons not to flip, because flipping is not a magic bullet. It's not going to solve every classroom problem. So remember that the pedagogy drives the tech, not the other way around. So just using videos and technology Just recording a lesson doesn't necessarily make you an amazing brand new teacher. I have unfortunately seen very few teachers who will just make the video, tell the students to watch the video, and they sit at their desk. And that is not what this is about. It's not going to make your job easier at first. It's really hard work to make the videos so that your students understand the material, and then you spend that class time reinforcing and individualizing and personalized learning. That's what flipping is about. It's about personalizing learning to help your students get the most out of that class time together. So I'm going to leave you on this lesson with one of my favorite quotes from Confucius. I hear and I forget. I see and I remember, but I do and I understand. So using that precious hour class time together to do is what the flip is all about. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great week, and let me know if you have questions.